Hey guys, I'm the Crime Master. This is my pre-world deck analysis. I'll be showing you some deck lists for the major decks, tech options, matchups. I'll try to just tell you as much as I can about the decks that I think are going to be good for worlds. So yeah, hope you guys will enjoy it. But before we get on to that, let's get on to some awesome stuff that I did. If you guys haven't checked it already, I did my contest, which is what deck you think will win worlds. So see this video, then you guys can decide what deck you think is the best. Then you can enter in the contest below. I'll have a link there. So yeah, it's free. You guys can win stuff just by thinking what deck you think is gonna win Worlds. Yeah. Also, I did an article for SixPrizes, another one. If you guys saw my other video, I said I did one. Well, I did another article. This one's just on general strategy, everything. I will also link to that below. So yeah, you guys go check that out. And yeah, not much else to say. Let's just get on to the video and let's go look at some deck lists. First deck I'm going to talk about is Yanmega, Kingdra, Magnezone, Jirachi. Yeah, usually you put them into two separate decks, either Yanmega, Magnezone, or Yanmega, Kingdra, Jirachi. But I've seen it work with all of them in it. Like, I've tested it before. I've seen good players play it. It works consistency wise. I'll show you a list and you can take it out either way. So out of this list you can kind of go either way. You can take out the Kingdra, Jirachi, or you can take out the Magnezone. So here's a list. Bam. This is just a skeleton list. There's extra slots. In this one there is 8 extra slots. We'll just go through the basics. Magnezone line, just you want to use it, you want to get it out more often. You probably want to get multiple out just so you can draw a lot of cards. It's a really good late game attacker. Kingdra line, it's less because you're mainly using it for its power. You can use it as an attacker if you add rainbow energies to the deck, but it's mainly just for the power to put damage around, kill babies, set up knockouts with Jirachi and Yanmega. It's just, I found it good. Yanmega's obviously just Yanmega. You could drop it down to a 4-3 if you don't want Yanmega as much and you want the space, but I would say play 4 Yanmas because it's a really good starter with free retreat and all that. And then 1 Jirachi just for the awesome late game tricks you can do with it. Just get multiple prizes or just screw your opponent. Use rare candy to everything. As you can see, this list doesn't have any babies or anything. For this list, I'm not sure if you play Cleffa, Manaphy, or Tyro. Like those are the babies that most people think are playing right now. I would say this list could play Manaphy if I wanted to, because you start with Yanmoa and that's free retreat. So if you go turn one into you can go turn one into a Manaphy, and if you have energy, you can use the power and attack. But the only thing is that you play little energy, so you might have problems having the energy. So you might want to play Clef for that reason. Also, Tyrogue, I'm not even sure if people are playing that anymore because of the fact that some people aren't playing Cleffa and it's going to be Manaphy, so Tyrogue doesn't really daunt. So, those are all your opinions. I would say maybe, like, if you're only playing 8 energy, then I would say play Cleffa, but if you're going to add more energy, like maybe 10, I would say it's better to play Manaphy because it's not going to get daunts and stuff. Tyrogue, it's just a meta call. If you think a lot of people are going to be playing Cleffa for World, or if you think there's going to be enough people playing Manaphy that it's just not worth it. Trainer lines is all basic. Like 4 communication, 4 collector. Some people might say it's overkill, but this deck you're setting up a lot of stuff, and I just love. I'm a consistent kind of guy, and I think consistency is important. 2 reversal. Like I said, this skeleton list. You have 8 cards to work with, so you can add more if you want. Junk armor, candies, judge and copycat just goes with Yanmega and everything. If cards to add, I could say you could add if you want to go. You could go straight Yanmega, Magnezone, and then you're kind of playing with this control deck. And then you might want to use other cards, like you might want to add Vileplume, maybe go less trainers, and then Vileplume to lock them, because Vileplume is a really good card right now against specific decks, like Reshifusion or whatever. You could also just go Kingdra, Yanmega, Jirachi, and then you bulk up the Kingdra line to go Magnezone. But like I said, I don't see any reason not to have it all. Like you have the space for it. And you have 8 cards to play with, so you can have more consistency cards, more draw cards, stuff like that. I can see the deck easily working, and I think it would be a good play to play this version, if any. So, yeah, I think this deck is fairly decent. It is a slower deck, and you have to plan things a lot ahead. So, it's like you're gonna have to be able to know what's important in specific matchups, like what do you need to knock out, and what do you do 70 to the active, or do you need to do 40 to the bench, and where to place your damage with Kingras? It's a fairly good deck. I feel like there's a lot of good options. That's why I like the deck, as opposed to other decks where it's a bit less options and you kind of have to use the same thing over and over again. And then if you just don't have something to do with what they have, then you kind of just lose. But overall, I think it has fairly good matchups, and I would suggest playing this deck if you feel confident in this kind of strategy. It is kind of spread snipe, not really snipe, but more just spread around and then draw cheap. The next deck we're going to look at is Reshiflosion, which I think Reshiflosion is the best build of this fire type deck. Some people may say it's Reshiram Embor, but to me I don't like that because you have to have energy retrievals and you have to have all the energy, and if you play against like a Valkyrie deck, you kind of just lose. I think Reshiflosion is a lot better. I mean, doing the damage yourself is almost irrelevant, and like with 130 HP it usually survives the hit, and then with the damage, Outrage does more, so it's not always bad. And I think that like it's just better version of the deck. Here's the deck list. So this is just the skeleton list. I'll say about some of the things that you guys might be worried about. For your Reshiram, it's essential for attacking. That's your main attacker. You want to start with it. It's just really good. 4-3, 4-2-4 Techlosion. It's this is a good version. No matter what kind of list you're playing, I think you want that because you always want 2 Techlosions at least. And if you have that, then you're good. If you only have like 1, then you're not really getting much. You really need to get 2 out, and being able to have that line means that if they knock it out, you still have more. So I think that's central line. 1 Cleffa, you just play Cleffa over this deck over Manaphy because all of your Pokemon have retreat cost. So turn 1 you can't go Cyndaquil, retreat, and then Manaphy. So you want to be able to use the Shuffle Draw effect instantly. Reshiram is even worse, where it's 2, so it has to be turn 3 for Manaphy to do anything, and by then it's way too slow and you're probably just going to lose. So Clef is obviously a choice there. Once again, Tyro is an option if you want to, you think it's a good thing. Another one I found that was good in this deck is Elekid. I think that card is generally good for this deck because it does 20 to anything and then falls asleep, just baby. And so a lot of times you can set up things for you 20 to Magnezone, and then you do Blue Flare, or the situations where you Blue Flare their Magnezone, then they retreat, and then Elekid snipes it. And then also the same thing with like a Phanpy, if you do 20 to it when it's on the bench, or even it's active, you do 20 to it, they go up the Dawn Fan, and then Blue Flare will one-shot it. It's really good for setting up one-shots, and then also the fact that like with a plus power it can knock out babies, so it's kind of like a Tyrogue in a sense. I just found personally that was a good card in the deck. I'm playing that right now, and I would seriously consider playing it. As for the Ninetales, I don't know if that's essential or not anymore. I've played both lists. They've both been fine. If you're not playing Ninetales, you're kind of more of a rush strategy where you just kind of want to get a bunch of Typhlosions out and Reshiram, and you're just going like it's quick deck, faster deck, and you're just trying to blow out your opponent. If you're playing Ninetales, your deck is going to be slower, but it's going to be set up more for late game where you'll be drawing a bunch of cards and you'll be able to use your rare candies, not rare candies, you'll be able to use your plus powers and your verses more, and to me that's the slower version, and I don't know if that's what you want right now. I think you kind of just want the faster one without Ninetales. As for the turn supporters, all consistency lists, like if you're playing without Ninetales, you're gonna add more draw support, you're gonna add Junipers, Sage's Training, stuff like that. If you're playing Ninetales, you're obviously adding the Ninetales, and then you're gonna have a few less like draw support cards, but you're still gonna have that. As for plus powers defenders, I think you should play 3 plus powers, but it's not essential. Defenders, it can go up to 2 if you guys think there's gonna be a lot of Reshiflosion or Zekrom. Everything else is kind of basic. 5 fire energy was good. I thought you needed more, but I found that 12 was kind of fine. You didn't have problems with it. Like, you're cycling all your energies with Typhlosion anyway, so that's what I like about it. The deck that I play right now, and the one I'm going to probably use for World, if I play Reshiflosion, would be the one without Ninetales, because that one's a lot quicker, and you might say that like you're going to run out of steam, but you'll have like 9 or 10 draw support cards. So you'll usually be able to just keep on drawing support cards and just keep on playing stuff and go through your entire deck. This list has 8 extra cards, So if you're playing 9 tails, that's 4, and then you have 4 extra cards to whatever you want. If not, you have 8 cards to more draw support. You probably want another plus power, maybe another defender. You could put Pokemon Circulator if you really think babies are going to be a problem for you, because you can't really do much when they are active and they're asleep, other than Reversal, which might not always work. But anyway, I think this one's a good deck. It's just fast, it's consistent. It's like I said, it doesn't have much stuff to do, so it's doing the same thing over and over again, which is kind of its weakness. But unless you run into like a water deck that's really dedicated to beating you, you should be able to have an advantage against most of the field. So yeah, I think that's also going to be a good play for Worlds. The third deck we're going to talk about is Stage 1 Toolbox. This deck, people have had more of arguments about what Pokemon you should run, what lines are the Pokemon, but I'll just show you our basic skeleton list right now. This is the Yanmega Donphan Zoroark one, which came second at US Nationals. I think this is probably one of the better lists. You could add Cincino if you wanted to, because it can do 100 for 2 energy, which is fairly good. The only problem is that you might have problems with getting basic Pokemon out. You might have problems having 5 always. Other than that, I think the lines are fine. You're probably going to add 1-1 of Donphan or 1-1 of Zoroark, because it depends what Pokemon you think are going to be better at Worlds. But I think you would add 1-1 of each. Probably more Zoroark, because Zoroark is better against Reshiram, and it also can be good against Magnezone if you have a bunch of energy in play. Donphan, it's really good at Magnezone, and it's good just overall as a tank kind of card. So that's personal preference. As for this list, I'd probably play Cleffa. I mean, you do have Yanma's, which are free retreat, but Zoroark and Donphans, and then whatever else you have, those basics only have 1 or 2 retreats, so you might not be able to, you know, get them retreated and get your Cleffas out and being able to do it fast enough. So I'd probably just play Cleffa. Pokemon Collectors and all our other lines. Pokemon Collectors 4 up just so you can get all the basics out. You're getting multiple lines out usually. Communications only at 3 right now, because the base list only plays 15 cards, 15 Pokemon cards. So you might have problems having Pokemon all the time. So if you add more Pokemon, add more communication. Junk Arm, you probably want to add 4 if you add a bunch of other trainers and stuff. Reversals, 3 is probably good, and you might want to play 1 Circulator just so you can deal with babies. The Taunts, Judges, and Copycats just draw support. You might want to add more if you think that Yanmega needs more support in some areas. Juniper is also a good one if you want to switch it up or you want to add some. You can usually take advantage of it so that you don't really get the down from the starting cards, but drawing 7s are good. Switches, you might want to add a second one, but I think 1's good, especially with Junk Arms and stuff. You probably want to add plus power to this deck, at least 2, so that Donphan can one-shot Magnezones, Zoroark can one-shot Zekrom, Reshiram easier, stuff like that. This list has 12 cards to deal with, so you'll probably add a 1-1 line of something like Zoroark, maybe Donphan if you want to. You could add Cincino if you wanted to also. You could just add consistency to the deck. You might go 4-4 Yanmega if you really want to. You could add another baby, Tyrogue, or Tyrogue probably if you wanted to. This deck, there's a lot you can do with it. It's fairly open deck. The energy, you could cut an energy if you want to. Probably a fighting, maybe a DC if you're not gonna add any Zoroarks or Cincinos, stuff like that. This deck's fairly decent attacking format, but the lines are a bit weak, so it might not always work against this specific deck, because it might just knock out your attacker and then you can get it out. So you might want to play something like a Flower Shop Lady, or maybe Revive, something like that, I don't know. I haven't personally liked this deck because I found there is consistency problems, because if you set up a Yanmega, then you're trying to force your hand to do the same, and that's not good with this deck because it doesn't have really Magnezone or a lot of draw support. So you could add a lot of draw support and it would probably work better, but I've seen situations where you judge and then it might be good at the time, but then you just kind of get dead hands and then your opponent just kind of rolls you. So you got to watch out for that. Yeah. On a side note, I would just like to talk about some cards or Pokemon I think are going to be good in more of a tech position or more of a different position. First of all, I think Vileplume would be a good card if you could find a good deck that fits in. I know there are some people playing Teddy Ursaring deck because Teddy Ursa's attack could turn 1 trainer lock them with a coin flip, and then hopefully turn 2 get Vileplume, and they can't use trainers. And that's generally just good because it locks communication out, it locks reversal, junk arm, plus power switches, whatever. Also, if you're gonna play Vileplume, you could do the Spinnerack combo where they use Spinnerack, they can't retreat, and then you have Trainer Lock on their Puffa so that they can't retreat and they can't do damage to you, and then you wait till the last turn of the game and you knock one of their Pokemon and then you just win. Also, you could add Reshiram or Zekrom in specific decks, like in the Reshiram Explosion deck, you could add a Zekrom so that it's a water tech, because if you run to water decks, you can double Outrage Fire Energies onto Zekrom, and then use Outrage with Zekrom so that it does 40 damage times 2, so it's 80 damage to water Pokemon, and then it usually survives a hit or 2, so it usually should be able to one-shot a major water Pokemon like Samurott if you feel like there's going to be problems with that. You could add a Explosion or Zekrom in a Donphan deck, because Donphan puts damage on it, and then you can Outrage with it later. That's also a cool kind of combo trick. Like I said, there's always the baby argument. Should you run babies? Like, what baby should you run? Should you play like Nappy or Puffa? Should you play Tyrode? Whatever. That's kind of personal opinion. I think that I'm going to be playing Puffa in my deck, because it depends what deck you think you're going to be playing. Because some decks can play Puffa, some decks really just shouldn't play Puffa because they don't need to. Tyrode, I don't think it's going to get that good. Like, it's only really good against Puffa, and that was before when everyone was like, oh my god, put 4 Puffas into every deck. But now that's kind of passed, so I think Tarode's going to fall out of favor now. Just kind of stuff like that. So these are the 3 decks that I think are going to be fairly decent for Net Worlds. I think if you're going to make one, you should make it soon, and you should test with it. I wouldn't suggest just going into the tournament with the deck list that you were given. Make sure you're testing a few days. I'd probably test at least a week before with the deck that you're going to play. Personally, I'm not sure yet. I think I'm going to play Reshiram Explosion, but I might play the Yanmega Kings or Magnezone deck. That also has been looking fairly well for me. But, you know, Worlds is personally just whatever you tested with, whatever you like. Like, if you could spell it with something in Nationals, you could probably just edit that list, make it better, tune it more, and then play for Worlds. The only problem with playing decks that are really reactive, like decks that have the answers to everything, is that the format really isn't defined yet. Like, we've only seen Canadian Nationals, Mexican Nationals, and US Nationals. We haven't seen any European events, we haven't seen Japanese events. So, you know, Europeans could come up with some secret SD or something. Japanese are always just going to have crazy text in their deck. So, you might want to just play some consistent, good hitting deck that, you know, it'll get you there most of the time. Because if, like, stage 1, they might have a problem, because what if they're just playing a deck that doesn't really have problems with any of your Pokemon, when you're supposed to have, like, Pokemon that they have troubles with? Well, then you kind of just, you're in a very bad situation. But anyway, if you're going to Worlds, me and my friends are going to be there. We're going to be there 2 days before Grinders. So the day before Grinders, we'll be in the playing area, whichever they have. They usually have a playing area that's in the same place that they're going to be doing the tournament just the day before. So we'll be there. We'll probably be selling cards, trading, all that kind of stuff. You can come by. We might be battling people. We might be doing some challenge or whatever. But you know, just come by, say hi to us. We might have goodies. I don't know. And yeah, I'm gonna be grinding with my friends. I hope you guys go there. I hope you guys have fun there. I hope you guys do well. So I hope this video helped you think of a deck for Worlds. I hope maybe it helped you, like, figure out what other decks are playing, or figure out, like, specific cards, text, and everything. But you know, rate, subscribe, comment like always. Check out the other videos. Check out our Facebook channel page thingy that I just made. I'll probably make a Twitter thing. I don't know. Is that what the cool thing to do is these days? I don't even know. But anyway, see you guys at Worlds, and peace.